Hi everyone, so today I'm back with a bit more of a personal video. I wanted to just sit down and discuss what's been going on the past week. I know I did put up on Instagram that I was kind of having a tough few days and that I had to take some time off work, and I just thought this was the perfect opportunity to sit down and just talk it out and let you all know what's going on. I've already filmed 2 different videos on anxiety and depression. I'll leave them linked somewhere here on the screen if you want to pause this video and watch them for a bit more background into myself and why I had anxiety and depression. So basically this last week has been really tough for me, and I know some people will probably say, oh well, you don't look like someone that suffers from anxiety and depression, and then I kind of think to myself, like, what does somebody look like? There is a stereotypical person that's depressed and stays in bed all day, but like your best friend or the person walking down the road that looks like a happy-go-lucky person can also suffer from anxiety and depression. So I just wanted to do a video today. I don't really know, I just wanted to talk to you and just let you know that sometimes it's okay not to be okay. You can give off this vibe, or if you have like a glamorous lifestyle and you just look like you're partying all the time and having the best time, but then on the other side you're like depressed and anxious, and that's okay. That's basically the message I want to get through in this video, is that it's okay to have a bad day. So if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I am all for addressing mental health and being positive about mental health, because obviously I suffer from mental illness. I have for the longest time. Way back when I was a child, I remember having anxiety, and I know that's kind of weird, and people say like, when did you have anxiety and when did you realize you were down or you worried? I've always been a worrier. I remember being 3 years old and worrying, and I was telling my mom last week about it because she was asking me like how are you anxious? Is it something I did? Is it something that happened in your past? Like, what is it that makes you anxious? And I just, like, I've always been anxious, and I just remember being a child and being anxious and being a worrier and always wanting to do right. My mom said like I was the best child. I never did anything wrong. I think she had to give out to me like twice in my whole childhood, and I just was a really good kid, but then I always worried about doing things wrong and like being bold or getting stuff wrong. My mom always said to the teachers like, please just watch out if she's dyslexic or if there's something wrong with her, let us know. So basically I am dyslexic, and I've always been that way. Like, I've always worried about writing properly or spelling things wrong, and basically my whole childhood I was a worrier. I remember like having a nap when I was 3 years old. This is the earliest memory I have of being anxious, and I remember my mum was working. She's like a seamstress and she used to like fix all our clothes and stuff, so she has a sewing machine, and that just sticks out in my mind that she was sewing, and I think the radio was on, and I remember just lying in bed and being like, what is going on? And I was a baby, obviously I was 3, and like my mind was racing and everything was really loud. Like the sewing machine, I felt like she was sewing right in my ear. I felt like the person on the radio was talking. She was probably talking to my dad at the same time, and everyone's voices were like amplified, and the noise was like, I don't know, it was hard to describe, kind of like it was suffocating me. Like, obviously I was having a panic attack, but at 3 years old, like, who knows what a panic attack is? Only at the age of 24 and 25 did I realise what I was going through was a panic attack. That was my first ever panic attack that I can remember, and it was literally like, obviously it didn't last very long. I didn't know what was going on, but it was like an overwhelming sensation. And now that I'm older, I finally realised that what I was going through was anxiety, and I was panicking. I don't know why I was panicking. Like, nothing in my childhood ever affected me. I don't have any bad experiences in my childhood that would make me a worrier or make me anxious. I've never had any trauma as a child, nothing like that. And the only thing I can think of is I was born an anxious person. Like, I try to say to people that don't understand it, like that may be suffering it themselves and like are like, what is wrong with me? Why am I like this? Just what I have finally come to terms with is that I was born anxious. People are born as outgoing people, they're shy people. It's like a personality trait, and I have just learned to accept that anxiety and anxiousness is one trait that I just have. And like, I've been to counsellors before I realised fully what anxiety was, and I always used to say to them and my mum, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I be normal? Why can't I just not worry? And my mum used to always say, you are normal, this is just the way you are, you're just an anxious person. And I never fully understood it until last year when I went through like my worst period, and this year when I'm like not fully better, because I don't think I'll ever be better, or I'll never like overcome anxiety because it's like my personality trait, But for people who are suffering with it, I think you're just going to suffer with it for the rest of your life. I had a counsellor tell me before, and I think it's so true, that like the feeling you have when you're anxious, you're like holding back, you're like trying so hard to push it away. And if you actually do that, if you sit down and try and like visualize pushing your anxiety away and literally like push as hard as you can, if you're literally pushing a wall, your whole body starts to tense. You get a pain in your neck, a pain in your back, your head, you start to get a headache. So that's what it is when you're trying to push anxiety away. Like physically, if you just stop there for a sec, pause this video and like start to push really hard, you can feel that tension in your back. And that's what I was doing for so long. I always had a pain in my back, I always had headaches, and that was all just from tension and from trying so hard to push this away instead of just accepting it and like just being like, yeah, I am anxious and that's fine, and that's me, and that's Grace, and that's the person I am. So when I was trying to explain to my mum like why I was this anxious person, and I described how I felt when I was pushing it away, and when I just kind of relaxed and thought about it, I was like, I am that anxious person and I'm always going to be that anxious person. So I was like, why don't I just carry my anxiety around with me? I don't mean literally carrying it around, but just accepting the fact that I am that way, and like carrying it around in my handbag and just saying, yeah, I am anxious, and just fully accepting it myself just made it so much easier to deal with it, because I was just like, I wasn't tense anymore and I wasn't stressed about it. I was just like, yeah, that's me, I'm Grace, I'm anxious, that's just who I am, and I'll always be that way. So I just wanted to make this video and let people know that it's okay to be anxious. You might be anxious from your childhood, you might only have just developed anxiety later on in your life, but that's okay, that's normal. You may have had some stress in your life that made you this way, or you might be dealing with the death of a friend, a family member, a parent, who knows. Anxiety is just triggered by something. I was born with it, but other people are like, they may have had a car crash and they have post-traumatic stress. They might have had a baby, they have postnatal depression. All of these factors contribute to the way you are and the person you are. So if you're anxious, just okay, you're anxious, and that's fine. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen my post on Wednesday or Thursday where I just said I've had to take time off work because of this. I've gone to the doctor and I've talked it through with my friends, and if anyone needed to talk, you could talk to me, because there's no better person to talk to than someone that can actually relate to it and is going through it themselves. And I had so many emails since I put that picture up on Instagram. I was literally like, oh my god, if that picture changed people's days or made people happy or aware that it's okay to feel that way, then I'm doing my job right. So basically on Wednesday I had a kind of a really bad day. I just woke up and went into work and I was really down. Like, I am not a downer person, I'm never negative. I'm upbeat and happy and outgoing. That's me on my normal happy days. Then total other end of the scale is me, like, I didn't want to talk to anyone. My manager was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm just really down. And I felt like I was welling up to cry. I just didn't want to talk to customers. I didn't want to serve people. I didn't want to do any work, and that is not me at all. Usually I'm like flying around the shop, doing everything for everyone, being like so friendly to customers and like just basically being myself. But that day and the day before that I wasn't, and I was really, really down. And I'd had a really exhausting like 2 weeks prior to that where everything was flat out with the blog. I was working with Suzanne, I was at the RDS, I was working full time. I was kind of making this transition in my own personal life with work and personal life stuff, that everything kind of came on me. And my mum said to me, like, Grace, you're doing too much, like this is all gonna come crashing down in some way or another, whether it be reflected in your work, your life, anything. So Wednesday that all came crashing down on top of me, and I met my sister for coffee and I was like, oh, I feel like shit today, I'm really down, like, and she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm so tired, I feel really anxious, I'm paranoid, I'm overwhelmed in work, blah 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 blah. And then she came back into me in work just to make sure I was okay, and she was like, are you all right? And we were chatting for a while and I was like, no, I really don't feel well. And she was like, go home, Grace, you're not well, like you're overworked, you're overwhelmed, you're under this pressure, you're stressed, you're anxious. And I could feel like inside, like I just got really emotional and I could feel like the tears welling up. And she was like, Grace, like, you have to go home, you're not well, you have to go to the doctor again. And she was like, you're not well. And I was like, I am, like, it's just my head. And I kind of, sometimes when I'm in the moment of like a panic attack, I forget like to be rational with myself and to just be mindful, and I'm just like, no Mags, I'm not sick, I'm fine, it's just my head, and blah blah blah. She was like, you of all people should know that just because you're not physically sick doesn't mean you're not sick. And I've said that so many times, and I say that to everyone, and then sometimes I forget it myself because I'm not physically vomiting, that I'm still sick in my mind. Like, I have got a mental illness that I need to take care of. I left work and I went to the doctor then on Thursday morning. Chris brought me to the doctor, and I just told him, like, I've been really stressed and really anxious and I had to leave work, and he was like, okay, you need to just relax and mind yourself. And he gave me a prescription for Lexatan. That's what I was on when I was diagnosed first with depression. Well, not first, but a year and a half ago when I came back from Australia and I was depressed and given antidepressants. I was also given Lexatan. I'll show you what they look like. But they are kind of like a relaxant happy pill. I haven't looked into them too much. I take them when I'm very overwhelmed, or to just kind of calm me down and make me, like, I don't know, like, just see straight, and like, it literally just relaxes me and makes me able to cope with life. He gave me a prescription for them and told me to take a couple of days off work and just chill out and relax. And he was like, if it doesn't get any better, if you're still feeling this way in 2 weeks, come back to me and we'll talk about antidepressants. And I was like, I don't need antidepressants. I'm not depressed. I am like a million miles from where I was a year and a half ago. I have the best boyfriend who, like, I'm so grateful to Chris because he totally gets where I am, and he totally understands what I'm going through, and he's done a diploma in coaching, and he is like my mini counselor. Like, if I'm mid panic attack or I can feel it coming on, I literally ring him and I'm like, babe, I'm having a panic attack. And he'll like talk sense into me and make me a bit more mindful. He'll tell me to meditate and all them kind of things that I know I should do. But when you're in a panic attack, you don't do it because you're like panicking about life, about the craziest ideas I have, and I panic about it. I know what I need to do to make myself feel better, to control my anxiety, to pull myself out of it. It was just, I let it build up, and then it literally was up here. I was just so overwhelmed with life and the pressure I was putting on myself that I just came crumbling down on top of me, and I just couldn't deal with it. So literally, I've taken a few days off work. You'll probably notice I haven't been very active on social media. I have put up a few posts to try and make people feel better and to know that it's okay not to be okay, to make people more aware of anxiety and more aware of mental health and how important mental health is. I can never stress enough how important it is to have a healthy, happy mind. Literally, I know from being the lowest of the low how much that affected me as a person. And when I look back at when I was in Australia, like the last couple of months in Australia, I was like, I am like, that was a skeleton of me. Like, it was literally like a different person. And I always just think, like, how did I get that bad? How did I let it consume me that much? But like, stuff like that knocks you down and you're just built up to be stronger. And I feel like I'm a stronger person now. I can talk about it to people and help other people. And that's the main reason I do these kind of videos. I put them posts up, is I'm having a shitty day, you might be having one, but a post like that can make you, it can perk you up and make your day brighter and make you realise that, yeah, it is normal to be like this, but it's not going to be like that forever. It's literally a bad day or a bad week, or you're having a bad month. I had nearly a bad year, and I built myself up. I got the help I needed. I saw the doctors, I talked to family members, I had a counsellor, and then I met Chris, and like, my life changed. Just sometimes you just need something like that. And since then, like, it's just gone up and up and up, and I've had the best life ever. And I'm getting really emotional now because, like, I just felt like I would never do it again. Like, at my lowest point, I said to my best friends, like, I'll never do this again. I'll never post pictures on Instagram. I'll never make a video. I remember being we were going to Whitsundays and talking to my friend Denise and just been like, I'll never do that again. And she was like, don't be silly, of course you will, you're fine, we'll get you help. And sorry she was like, we'll get you help and you'll be back to the old Grace. And like, now a year and a half later, and I think back and I am Grace. I'm back to being Grace. And even the whole time last year when I was on antidepressants and when I came off them, I weaned myself off them myself, even though the doctor told me not to. Only since like Christmas this year and onwards have I felt like Grace again. Like sometimes I'm just like, oh, finally I'm Grace again. And I've gone through so much in the past 2 years that's made me the person I am today. And oh my god, I want to talk properly. What's wrong with me? But basically, when you're in that frame of mind and that negative mindset and you feel like everything is going wrong and you're just focusing on the negatives, you're down, like stuff obviously happens in life that makes you like that. Like I lost my dad, and I know that things in life are going to happen to make this wasn't meant to be a crying video, but there are knockbacks in life, and I feel like the knockbacks in life build you up to be a better person, and all the experiences I've had in my life have made me a better person. To sit down and be able to talk to all of you and let you know that it's okay, because if you had seen me when I was in Australia, I was ridiculously bad, like couldn't leave the house. Was just horrific how I felt, like just was so negative, and it's not me at all. I just want you to know that like it's okay to feel that way, and just go see a doctor, see a counsellor. Don't live in that depression, and don't let it feed off how you're feeling and your mood just be low and down. Just seek help. And so many people just don't see a way out and like end up taking their own life, and I think and there is a way out. You just need to talk it out and talk it through and realize what you're going through is normal. And so many people suffer from anxiety and depression, and like every second person I talk to are like, oh my god, me too, like if you ever need to talk to me, I'm here. And I put that out to all my followers, to anybody who's watching this video. If you need to talk, if you're in the lowest point in your life, send me an email and I can help and like give you advice on what to do. And please just seek help, and don't even think about it. Just go talk to someone, go to your doctor. They will guide you in the right way, like a counsellor. They know, they can recommend somebody to talk to, but there is always a way out. But basically that video was just to let you know that I'm going through a tough time. Obviously I feel a lot better now because I've taken time off work and I kind of recuperated and relaxed and got back in the game. So next week I'm ready for it. I'm gonna take it on and I'm just gonna go for it. It is okay not to feel okay is what I'm trying to say, and just take a day for yourself. Just shut off from technology. I know sometimes I get so overwhelmed if I'm on my computer or if I'm on my phone a lot, and just shut down. Spend some time with friends or family or your boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife or whatever, and just have some me time. Like there's no better time than just to chill out and have some me time. I love me time, even if I'm spending it with someone else. It's just nice to chill out, go for a massage, go for a facial, do your nails, whatever it is that makes you relax. I know if you're a man, you're obviously not going to, well, maybe they will, but anyway, that's just a few little things and just a little update on the situation that I'm in. It's not really a situation, it's my life. That's how I am, and I've just accepted the fact that that's who I am. And I just wanted to let everyone watching and anyone new to the channel just to, yeah, that's life, that's how I am, and that's probably how you are if you're watching this video. You came on here because you wanted to hear about it. So I just wanted to say thanks for everyone for understanding and being there, and people are telling me I'm inspiring them because I'm talking about it, and that's all I want in life, is to help other people. And yeah, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget my email address. I'll leave it up on the screen here and linked below. If you have anything, any issues, or if you want to talk or just give me advice, or you want advice from me, just email me and we can have a little chat, and hopefully you'll feel better after that. And thanks for watching. I know it was a long rambly video, but just a few things I needed to get off my chest, and hopefully it helped you. If not, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye!